Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing good. At the end of this month comes Diwali. Hence I started with some simple DIYs. DIY decor always brings me some sort of happiness. Rather than buying a decor directly from the store, doing it from the scratch seems therapeutic to me. Some people will always look forward to dress up during the festivals, but I, being that DIY mom, will always look forward to do this. So first I started with this runner. I purchased this runner from IKEA a few months ago and I thought of giving it a nice ethnic touch. With this Kolam carved wooden block, I am stamping golden color prints into this runner. Finally, to elevate this design, I am adding green color leaves pattern on all the sides using this thin brush. The beige gold green color from the runner and the brown background of the dining table blends perfectly with my earthy neutral color palette of my dining room. My next DIY is inspired from the kolam drawn on the red oxide floor. To me, the bright kolam laid over the red color floor gives such an elegant look. First, I start by mixing the polymer mold base and the hardener together into a ball. Then I'm pressing it flat using a plate. Then I'm placing a rangoli stencil over it. And I start flattening it out using a rolling pin. Just like rolling a stuffed paratha. Once the stencil is removed, a beautiful pattern is left behind. And then I realized the mistake that I made. Yes, I couldn't remove the clay as it got stuck to this working platform. So this time I used a paper beneath the clay. Hence this time the paper can be easily peeled once the clay gets dried. And I made two of them. This can be used as coasters and also as a tea light placer. First I am going to paint terracotta base color, which is similar to red oxide shade. Then I'll paint the white shade on the rangoli pattern. Once it's dried well, I'm giving a coating of linseed oil. It prevents the water penetration as I'll be using this as coasters. I made another one of this and this time I'm going to make some changes to it. Using a steel straw, I'm poking some holes. Then I'm giving a scallop edges to it with the help of an earbud. A simple flower holder is ready. These holes hold the flower stems and this flower holder can be placed directly above a vase. At the end of the video, I'll show you how I used it. For the next DIY, I got the inspo from this pic. Once I came across this pic of an upscaled bottle lantern, I know I will definitely recreate it for this Diwali. I took a small empty honey bottle. With the help of masking tape, I am going to create a triangle cutout. Then using chalk paint, I am going to paint this glass jar. I have taken the terracotta shade as shown in that picture. Then I created some rough texture with this scrubber for easy application of paint. After that I gave second coat. Once the paint got dried, I removed all the triangle stickers. With the help of wet Q-tip, I gave smoother edges to these triangles. Then I added some white lines to it. And I totally made two of them. Finally, I gave a linseed coating for a glossy finish. And at last, I realized that this DIY was a total failure. The uneven paint sheet completely spoiled the look. I was so excited to try this out for a long time, but sadly this was the result. I should have used a sponge brush applicator. but learned from my mistake. Hopefully I will take this failure as an experience. Then I gave some quick refresh to one of my old DIY. Last year I painted Kolam on pebbles with chalk piece and I totally loved it. So this time I painted over them with this white paint for a long lasting look. These Kolam painted pebbles can give a nice divine temple look to any corner of our home. Based on the shape of these pebbles, I have chosen the Kolam design. I've always been a fan of Kambi Kolam and looking at them gives me a sense of peace. If you have already watched my living room makeover, you would have known. I showcased all these pebble stones together in this bamboo basket. To give a clean look, I coated them with this linseed oil. Painted some bigger pebbles as well. They make a nice welcoming decor piece in the entryway area as well as in our home mandir. Though these elegant decors set the mood right for the festivities, the joy of festival lies in the food. And for this Diwali, I have tried 2 sweets and 2 savory treats. First, I start by preparing a flour mixture. And this can be used for making murukku as well as Thattai. You can also prepare this in advance. First, I have taken ragi, rice and urad dal flour in the above proportion. Then I am going to roast each flour for 2 minutes separately. Then I mix everything together and sift through a sieve. And I'm going to separate this flour mix into 2 equal halves. With one I'll be making murukku and with the other I will be making Thattai. Then I'm going to prepare the flour mix for sweet Somas. I've taken half cup rava and half cup wheat flour. First I roasted the rava and ground it into a nice mixture. Then to this I'm adding half cup wheat flour. First I'll be making Somas, so I'm going to prepare the dough for it. To make the Somas vibrant, I'm adding puree of 1 boiled beetroot to it. And I start by mixing it well by adding a tablespoon of oil. Water can be added if needed. Soft dough is ready. I will let it rest. In the meanwhile, I will be making the stuffing. First I have taken 1/4 cup pista and 1/4 cup cashews. Once they are roasted well, I'll chop them finely. To the same pan, I'm adding desiccated coconut, jaggery powder and the chopped nuts. In a low flame, I'm mixing everything together until the jaggery melts. I've also added some dried cranberries and a dash of cardamom powder. Then I'm dividing the dough into 20 equal parts. Then using this roti presser, I'm flattening the balls into small discs. And again using this rolling pin, I'll flatten it a little bit more. This belongs to my grandma. I'll use this spoon to scoop the stuffing and the wheel cutter to cut the edges of the somas. And after cutting the somas, I'll secure the edges with the help of a fork. Through halfway I realized first securing the edges with fork and then cutting the excess with this cutter makes the process much easier. Usually the next step will be to deep fry these somas in oil. But since I'm not that great with handling kadais with hot oil, I'm going to bake these in the oven. Plus this option makes this a healthy guilt-free Diwali sweet. I lined the baking tray with this parchment paper and then greased it with some ghee. Then I arranged all the somas on it. And again I brushed some more ghee on top of all these somas. Now I'm going to bake these somas in a preheated oven. So I'll preheat the oven for 5 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Then I'll bake the somas for 15 minutes. If required, I'll brush some more ghee in between. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the dough for murukku. This year I'm going for green color murukku. First I started by roasting some curry leaves. Then I'll grind the roasted curry leaves along with 2 green chilies. I ground it into a nice paste by adding some water. For some extra green color, later I added some paste of blanched palak leaves as well. I added a spoon of oil and then a little bit of water. Mixed it well till a soft dough is formed. It shouldn't be too sticky nor dry. After 15 minutes, I flipped all the somas and baked them for 5 more minutes, as I prefer it to be crunchy. Now I'm going to press the murukku quickly with my murukku maker. Before that, I greased the parchment paper and the murukku maker as well. Once it's done, I'm spraying some oil on top of it. I've taken the somas out and now going to keep the murukku inside. I'm not going to preheat it again as I'm baking back to back, otherwise you have to preheat the oven at 180 degrees Celsius. I'll bake this for 20 minutes and then flip it and bake for 10 more minutes. Somas have turned out too good. My son kept asking more and more of it. And here I mixed up with the timings. Instead of flipping them after 20 minutes, I flipped them after 10 minutes. After 20 minutes, murukku can be easily flipped and wouldn't have broke like this. As it was little bit difficult, I used a plate to flip. So I'll bake it for another 20 minutes. I'll give all the ingredients and the detailed instruction in the description box, so don't need to get confused. Though I made many mistakes, the murukku taste and texture was very good. Next, I'm going to prepare the dough for the Thattai. To this prepared flour mix, I'm adding a spoon of roasted sesame seeds, salt and chili powder. Then I added some crushed garlic, and this will enhance the taste and flavor. To this, I'm adding a teaspoon of ghee and mixing it well by adding water little by little until a soft dough is formed. Once the dough is ready, I will start making small discs out of it. For getting even size, I'm scooping the dough with this spoon and then made small balls out of it. Then I flattened each balls using my hands and I'm making a perfect round by pressing it with a cup. Then I'm carefully transferring it into a baking tray lined with greased parchment paper. Then I'm spraying some oil on top of each thattai. I'm going to bake this in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, I'm flipping it and spraying some oil and baking for another 15 minutes. And delicious ragi thattai is ready. Without standing in front of kadai full of hot oil, I made 3 delicacies with less effort. To be frank, I have not baked a single cake in this oven till now, but I have tried many traditional Indian sweets and savories. What is your favorite sweet of Diwali? Comment below. Mine is kaju katli. To make this, first I started by roasting the cashews. I'll let it rest before grinding. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the sweet syrup. And here I have made a healthy swap. Instead of sugar, I have taken palm jaggery and we call this as Karupatti. For 1 cup of cashew powder, I have taken half cup of shaved palm jaggery. To make the syrup, I am adding a quarter cup of water to half cup of palm jaggery in low flame. Once the jaggery gets dissolved in the water, I am straining it to remove the impurities. Then I added it back to the pan and kept stirring in low flame until syrup reaches one string consistency. I have taken a drop in my thumb and index finger to check one string consistency. I kept stirring the foaming syrup to avoid burning. It took me exactly 6 minutes to reach this consistency. Then I switched off the flame and added the cashew powder and a teaspoon of cardamom powder and combined it together well. Then in low flame I continue to mix it well until it reaches a soft dough consistency. And then after switching off the flame, I added a teaspoon of ghee and mixed it well again. Then I'm going to transfer the prepared mixture to this greased parchment paper. But before that, I'm kneading it well. Then I'm placing one more parchment paper on the top and flattening it with a rolling pin. This is optional, but to give a fancy look to my katlis, I'm adding this silver leaf. And finally, I cut them into mini diamonds. Karupatti kaju katli is ready. If you're a health conscious person and at the same time you don't want to compromise the taste of the Diwali delicacies, do try these guilt-free festive recipes. Here, easily available flowers for me are yellow, orange marigold and small roses. Now I'm going to deck up the dining table with these flowers and the DIY decor items that I made earlier. First, I started by tying the flowers to one end of the threads of varying height. Then using a flexible aluminum wire, I am making some hooks to hang these flowers. I got this low-rise bamboo pendant lamp from Amazon and I'm hanging all the hooks to this bamboo lampshade. These floating flowers give such a colorful festive vibes. But before hanging, make sure to check the flowers for any tiny caterpillars as they are commonly found in marigold. Then I'm arranging some wooden serving platters along with some other decor items. As a centerpiece, I'm placing this bowl filled with water. Any flower with shorter stems can be easily arranged in the vase with the help of this flower holder. This flower holder can be placed on glass tumblers or any glass bottles. It gives such a nice look. I also used this in urli to hold the lotus straight. Then I prepared some jaggery syrup for the somas. For half cup jaggery, I am adding 1 cup water. I heated the jaggery powder and water for 7 minutes until it slightly started to thicken, and to this I added the somas. I added some silver leaves, crushed pistachios and rose petals to the jaggery syrup coated somas. This somas was so delicious. Then I arranged the katlis in the signature star-shaped pattern. I added the savory treats in these scallop-shaped bowls and it matched well with the scallop-shaped flower holder that I made. The final look was even better than I imagined. That's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If yes, give a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comment section. And stay safe in this rainy season. See you all again with another video. Until then, bye. Take care.